The federal government sent $1.4 billion in stimulus checks to over 1 million persons who are no longer alive. The Government Accountability Office said in its report that the IRS does not currently have a plan in place to notify ineligible recipients. More than 1 million Americans who are no longer alive have received pandemic stimulus payments totaling $1.4 billion. A government watchdog stated in a report to Congress that was released on Thursday. The finding is part of a sweeping review of the federal government's response to the pandemic by the Government Accountability Office, an independent, nonpartisan congressional agency. The report paints a clearer picture of what critics called a muddled rollout by the Internal Revenue Service and the Treasury Department of more than 160 million payments worth $269 billion. Congress passed a massive $2 trillion stimulus package called the CARES Act in March to soften the economic blow of the pandemic for American workers and businesses. Eligible Americans received checks called economic impact payments based on their 2018 or 2019 income tax returns, or by filling out a simple tax return. Individuals making up to $75,000 a year received checks for $1,200, and couples making up to $150,000 and filing a joint tax return received $2,400 with an additional $500 per qualifying child. The payments decreased for those making more than $75,000, with an income cap of $99,000 per individual or $198,000 for couples. According to the Government Accountability Office report, Treasury officials have stated that in order to meet the CARES Act's mandate to deliver payments as rapidly as possible, Treasury and the IRS sent out the first 3 batches of payments using previous operational policies and procedures for stimulus payments, which did not include using Social Security Administration records of loss of lives as a filter to halt payments to dissidents. The GAO also reported that IRS's legal counsel had determined that the IRS did not have the legal authority to deny payments to those who filed a return for 2019, even if they were no longer alive at the time of payment, and had advised applying the same rules to recipients who had filed a 2018 return. There was an initial backlog when the IRS began sending the first round of payments, and relatives of persons who had passed all over the country stated that they received pandemic relief payments on behalf of the loved one. Families initially believed they could keep the payments, but the IRS updated its guidance in May to say that people who have passed do not qualify for the pandemic relief payments and should be returned to the IRS. Photo was sent of an envelope that was received by an American addressed to her father, who was no longer alive, who had passed in 2019, that she believes contained a stimulus check. The envelope from the Department of Treasury and its Bureau of Fiscal Service bears an explicit instruction that if the recipient has passed, the bearer should check a box and return the payment by putting the envelope in a mailbox. The sender said the family checked the box and mailed back the envelope without opening it. The GAO said in its report that the IRS does not currently have a plan in place to notify ineligible recipients, which includes the relatives of almost 1.1 million Americans who are no longer alive, who have received payments as of April 30th. The watchdog agency said the IRS should consider cost-effective options for notifying ineligible recipients on how to return payments, and the IRS has agreed to do so. The IRS and Treasury didn't immediately provide any comment on this matter. Treasury and IRS representatives have referred news agencies to responses they provided in the government agency office's report. The President has indicated that he will open another round of very generous stimulus payments as the economy continues to reel from the pandemic. Last month, the Democratic-led House passed the $3 trillion US Euros Act that included another round of direct payments, but the Republican-controlled Senate has yet to vote on the bill, as leaders say they want to see what, if any, additional aid is needed. In the Government Accountability Office's report, Pandemic Opportunities to Improve Federal Response and Recovery Efforts reviewed actions by multiple federal agencies to address the pandemic, from reporting national data on viral testing to distributing critical medical supplies to dispersing relief funds and loans. The Government Accountability Office also faulted the U.S. Small Business Administration for its handling of the Paycheck Protection Program, which was created under the Act to provide direct relief to small businesses amid the pandemic. The program has faced criticism for providing aid to unintended recipients, such as large publicly traded companies. Many businesses around the country have also complained that they either could not tap into loans or did not receive adequate funds to keep their businesses afloat and their employees on the payroll. The GAO has said that the SBA is stonewalling collection of data to show detailed information regarding loan recipients. In a statement to NBC, the SBA denied that it was withholding information. Unfortunately, the report minimizes the historic work that the SBA has undertaken to implement the CARES Act and mischaracterizes SBA's engagement with GAO. The spokesperson added that the agency would provide the watchdog agency with the PPP data, but first officials need to discuss shielding proprietary and personal privacy information of recipients. This has been a review of the federal government's and the Small Business Association faults in reviewing and providing $1.4 billion to persons who are no longer alive, and for the Small Business Agency, they would have provided loans to large corporations instead of small businesses. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching the Learning Academy. Leave your comments down below.